Hey guys, Pejman Gadimi here, back with another Exotic Car Hacks car review. Today we're talking about my Rolls-Royce Ghost. I went ahead and traded in my top-of-the-line Camel, the one with 2 humps, against one of these bad boys here with little picnic tables in the back, so we can still, have the same kind of casual experience as owning a Camel, except we get to do that with the luxury of having the little Spirit of Ecstasy come out the front. Many of you guys have asked me, is the Rolls-Royce Ghost a good car to use with your system? Can I drive a Rolls-Royce Ghost completely free for the next 12 months? And so today we're going to answer that question. We're going to take a look at my new Ghost. We're going to take a look at some of the modifications I've done, and we're going to answer, is your ability to ball out on a budget real, and are you going to be able to do that with this particular Ghost? And so hope you guys are ready for the ultimate Camel Ghost experience as we take you in this incredible car review only for Exotic Car Hacks. All right guys, so here we are. Is the Rolls-Royce Ghost worth the purchase price of $330,000 spec'd out like the one behind me? And the answer is fuck no. You shouldn't buy a Rolls-Royce Ghost for $330,000 because within a few years it'll be worth less than 130 grand. That means you're gonna assume 200,000 in depreciation within the first few years alone, and that's just insane. Like every other British cars you've seen me review, like my Aston Martin Vanquish as well as the McLaren, the depreciation is brutal. And so that is the benefit of Exotic Car Hacks, where we teach you how to stay ahead of the depreciation curve and how to drive completely free. As a kid, I've always looked at Rolls-Royce as this huge brand that was about luxury, that was about big, and that was also about just this idea of like unattainable and unreachable. But today, with the Rolls-Royce Ghost, what they've done is they've taken something unreachable and very big and really made it affordable and accessible, which I'm not sure how this plays into the Rolls-Royce brand as a whole, but for us, it gives us a great opportunity, you and I, to drive one of the nicest four-door sedans on earth for a fraction of the cost. And in this case, actually be able to drive it for free. So yes, the Rolls-Royce Ghost absolutely qualify for the Exotic Car Hacks drive a car for free for 12 months using the strategies we teach you in the course. But let's really understand why. From 330,000 down to 130,000 means massive depreciation. Also means that obviously there's no warranty on these cars anymore. And guess what? Most people are still petrified of the Rolls-Royce brand because of the Phantom and some of the earlier problems they've had with the drop heads, knowing that just these cars are expensive to fix, right? And so that's what at first glance most people think of the Ghost. What they don't seem to see is that the Rolls-Royce Ghost is actually a very, very expensively spec'd out BMW 7 Series. It is no different other than aesthetically different, but the actual car itself happens to be the exact same car, including some of the same components engine-wise, transmission-wise, chassis-wise, brake-wise, and everything in between. So ultimately, you're really driving a glorified 7 Series more than you're actually driving a Rolls-Royce. And that actually works out better for you and me because we're able to now fix this car at a fraction of the cost. But does anything really go wrong with the Rolls-Royce Ghost? And the reality is yes, some things do go wrong, like every other BMW and Audi counterpart out there. The basic things that are known to go wrong are your two basic components, which is A, you have your electronics that go to shit, and B, you have your actual air suspension that goes to shit. Those are the two most expensive and most predictable repairs on just about any Ghost, especially the Series 1 like the one behind me, which started in 2010 and ended in 2012. And so, between just having kind of these early cars, knowing that these early cars had issues, the main issues again are your air suspension, which at Rolls-Royce will cost you $2,500 to $3,000 aside to fix, but can be fixed with a BMW counterpart apart for less than $900 per side, which is again almost 30% of the dealer cost. And in addition to that, the electronics, which are not known to go to shit all the time, but in some cases will go to shit on the basis that you've just had a defective car to begin with. And so we're going to take a look at this particular car now and see what really makes this particular model unique. If you are going to buy a Royce Ghost, I do recommend buying a 2011, a 2012 to get the best mix of depreciation, age, and ultimately having had a car that's not a first-year car like a 2010. But even the 2010 is still a decent car. There's nothing wrong with it. But you're going to see more electronic issues in the 2010 than the 2011 and 2012s. And again, if you are buying a 2013, 14, and 15, you're again assuming significant depreciation. The bottom dollar on these cars is about 110. And so you want to buy as close as you can to 110 with tremendous mileage savings. So hopefully you can find a beautiful 11 like the one behind us for somewhere around the mid 120s, and that would be ideal. You would get the best of the years of very low mileage, like 10 to 15,000 miles, and have the opportunity to drive up another 5 to 10,000 miles until you can actually get out of the car for the same dollar you paid. So now follow me as we take a look at our incredible Royce Ghost and tell you a little bit about the modifications we've made as well as the car itself. All right, guys, so we start this awesome review by showing you this incredibly large key. This is what Royce calls this little fob, which is the size of a brick. You can use it as a weapon, or you can ultimately use it to lock and unlock your car. Some cool, very cool features on the outside of the car is obviously this awesome Spirit of Ecstasy. When you unlock the car, this gay little man comes out, and he makes you feel good about yourself because you feel like you're rich because he's on your hood. Otherwise, you'll see the LED headlights, you'll see the massive grille. Some of the common issues with the grills though, just so you know, I don't know if you can kind of see that, there's a little dimple in the chrome there. Those dimples are unfixable. And as you generate more and more of them from rock chips and things, those fucking things, that grill costs $8 grand. So it's like really hard to like change and to replace. So you got to make sure when you're buying your car you don't have a lot of dimples, or you have them in places where it's not noticeable. Other basic features on the car is you'll see this car originally came with a silver hood. We went ahead and wrapped the hood in brushed steel to give it that feeling that it had the stainless steel option that wasn't available in the earlier ones. Now this gives it a much younger look, and it also makes it seem that it's obvious that I can't afford to have a refrigerator on the front of my car, which is again something that, again, poverty, it's a fact of life. Anyhow, with this particular car on the outside, we went with a white theme. Very, very simple. The white Ghosts do better in resale than any other color. And of course, the very cool, well-known doors that again open outwards, which is again a very, very cool feature because it makes you feel, again, expensive. And the doors, of course, close with a button. In the car itself, you'll find yourself having these $800 wonderful umbrellas to position yourself as, again, once again, someone who has, a lot of gayness in them. But anyways, so, with this, again, with the outside, the inside, very simple. All the Ghosts pretty much look like one another. Very few changes from Series 1 to Series 2 on the outside. We are running here on 22-inch Arista forged wheels that are polished, and so it gives the car a much, much greater look. And it gives it a much more modernized look, especially with that, hood, the wheels, and the subtle lowering and drop. And now the beauty of lowering these cars is that it's really, really cheap to do it. You don't actually have to change springs. You don't have to do anything. All you have to really do is simply get the air suspension links, which are $150, and then another $50 to install to slightly adjust the suspension, or you can spend $1,000 and get a module to bring them down. But nonetheless, a much better driving experience and a much better car when in the format of sitting on 22s that are much more open and gives the car a much younger feel. Outside of that, I'm going to walk you now through all of the features of the car, things that make it somewhat unique and cool that you may not actually have seen out there because people are not really talking about these things in the videos. They're talking about the V12 twin turbos, they're talking about the speed and all that shit, which none of us give a fuck about. I'm here to really teach you and educate you about the car and the value standpoint. And so, for what it's worth here, at least you get a good glance on the outside. Let's go ahead and take a peek on the inside of the car. All right, guys, so let's take a look inside the Rolls Royce because that's really where Rolls spends a lot of its time, is really crafting the interiors. You'll see a mixture of leather and vinyl, which is actually a good thing because it prevents a lot of damage and for the material to last longer. One of the key things you'll notice immediately is attention to details with high quality wood. Looks very solid, sounds solid, looks strong. A lot of chrome trim around pieces, just giving a really good sense of quality. You'll see a lot of the controls here, and then backed with, again, real leather. You'll see little lights behind the door handles to give you a sense. But, you know, overall, looking at the car, the big difference between a 7 Series and the Ghost is you'll notice a lot more chrome everywhere and a lot more wood. So a lot of richness inside the cabin, giving you a really good feel when driving. And at first, it doesn't really hit you because it's all kind of there, no different than another car. But the more you get accustomed to the car, the more you start appreciating some of these details that went into making the car itself. So here we'll notice that you'll have a lot of the actual vents here have these little pieces to them. And by pressing them or pulling them, you're actually closing and changing the altitude, the actual amount of air that comes in. The beautiful clock on the inside. And then, of course, you have all of your little systems when it comes to checking the temperature. It doesn't actually have a gauge as to what the temperature is, but you do have a little hotter, colder, and each zone is truly independent of the other. So you can adjust how much density in each, not just the temperature, but also the intensity of the side versus the other. And if you activate one side, it doesn't automatically activate the rest of the car, which is phenomenal. Now, in addition to that, you have things such as massaging seats on the front and the rear, but in the back, this is the really cool part. So you're like hanging out here, and you have not only your awesome little picnic tables here where you can put your little laptop, which is very, very unique and awesome. And then, of course, the other part you have is you have your little screen here, which you can get your little Wi-Fi and thing going on and just handle yourself. And even better, you can actually close the door from in here without actually having to be, you know, anywhere else. So you can close it or open it. We're gonna leave it open for now just so you guys can see me, but a lot of cool features. And then, of course, in your center console here, you have all of your entertainment, some really cool cup holders, which is pointless, but again, good for the back. And again, here you can have, you know, music, you can listen, your lights, everything is really centered around the people in the car, which is great. And you can control, again, all your zones of climate. Like you have climate here, you have climate here, you have climate here, you have climate here. You can control all of these separately based on how much temperature you want in each, which makes the experience really awesome. Even better, you can actually recline these seats a lot and give you a really good sense of just adjusting yourself to the comfort you need without sacrificing the design on the outside. A lot of cars that have this level of flexibility typically have a bigger back end, which gives you a lot of, you know, ugliness, like looking more like a limo. But this just looks sexy and it just works. It works really, really well. And so I really love the details in this car. I'm gonna get out of here so you guys can still get a good gauge and look here. We're gonna move our way to the trunk and actually take a look at this real quick. And again, you know, we think that, you know, just these small subtle changes like the wheels make a huge difference in the car. Again, the automatic trunk, again, you can see here the level of detail to the carpeted interior, to all of this chrome, again, with a lot of space here. You could fit multiple midgets here at the same time, or 18-year-old girls that you plan to kidnap if you're older and trying to pull that. Either ways, lots of space here, lots of cargo space, lots of beautiful girl space, lots of midget space. Whatever you're into, you can probably fit it here. So again, everything closes with a button, has a lot of that, again, sex appeal and just works. On the driver's side, it's cool and it's not cool. Some of the good features obviously is, again, a lot of the same trim designs. You can control all the seats from the front seat. So if your passenger left the seat up or down, you can change all that. And then sitting in here, again, you have all your controls here, like your night vision, lane departure, heads up display. Everything is covered by wood until the car is turned on, obviously, and then everything opens up to beautiful. Your cup holders, your ashtrays, your ride height. And the coolest part, obviously, about this interior is, I'm going to turn this on, I'm going to show you, it's this incredible part here where you actually get to move your finger along these buttons, and the car actually follows you because it kind of feels your heat signature and it sees everything changing. It's really, really amazing and it feels really good, but it's pretty fucking useless. Some of the quick downfalls, though, I will tell you that aren't really noticed out there is, A, all of this thing looks amazing, except that all of these buttons right here are made out of cheap plastic. You'll start seeing the wearing on the little buttons that you use on more bases than others starting to show wear over time. And the problem is is that with Rolls-Royce, obviously, we talked about the compatibility backwards with BMW, but the reality is that while you can compete and take everything from a BMW and shove it in here, you can't take trim and design from a BMW and shove it in here. So what ends up happening is for a lot of these trim pieces, you are unfortunately at the mercy of Rolls-Royce, and it can get expensive. Giving you just a simple idea, these little buttons here, just little mechanism inside the seat by itself is $600. So while you could say, well, great, I'm never gonna break my buttons, if even a slightest of the simple plastic buttons fell off, you would actually have to pay $600 to fix that little piece. And so do we see a lot of issues with things inside the Rolls? No, not really. That's why it's so important to PPI, to private purchase inspect, like we teach here at Exotic Car Hacks, and make sure that you're actually aware of how to go ahead and verify that things are working, not broken, and aren't gonna drive you nuts over time. Now, again, remember, you have a lot of chrome, you have beautiful carpet. I mean, the floor mats are like super expensive, like $2,000 for 4 floor mats, but you know, you have all that amazing detail and all of this beauty inside and out, and you have it at a fraction of the cost, like 200 grand off of sticker. And you have this opportunity to drive it for the cost of a brand new BMW. So you could either select the brand new 7 Series, or you could select this slightly used Ghost. Now, slightly used with 10,000 miles or so. Even better is the fact that with the BMW, you're going to be encouraged to have roughly 50% depreciation over your lease, versus hacking your way into a Ghost will actually allow you to buy it in the mid 120s, drive it for 5,000 to 8,000 miles, and get out of it for the mid 120s, giving you a unique opportunity to hack your way into a free Ghost for the next 12 months, which is essentially the key to everything we teach at Exotic Car Hacks, and makes sense if you're all about driving free exotics. Now, if you like a new car, you like a warranty, the Ghost is probably not for you. Luckily for us, the Ghost doesn't break down as much, and a lot of the components are recycled, like we said, from BMW, giving you a competitive advantage on hard repairs, and also giving you a good opportunity to know that most of these cars have been used time and time again in cars that have been around for a while, and so they're not new and experimental for Rolls-Royce. So, is the Ghost worth it as one of Exotic Car Hacks' top luxury cars to drive completely free? Abso-fucking-lutely. It is one of the best sedans you can buy under 150 grand, and honestly, one of the best bangs for the buck out there in any exotic realm anywhere. So I hope that you've enjoyed this Exotic Car Hacks review, and we do want to point out one last thing, is really that these umbrellas have one more function that you never saw coming.
We have killed a midget, but the way you really kill a midget is you put a stake to his nuts. And there you go, at last, the midget has been killed. After many, many years of attempting to find him and for once, get him back for kicking me in the nuts in that other video. Well, there you have it. Rolls-Royces are good to kill midgets, and they're also good to, well, to do a lot of other things, but nonetheless, fuck it.
Hey guys, Pejman Gadimi here, founder of Exotic Car Hacks. You can find me on Instagram as well at @ICreateMillionaire. And I'm here today to tell you that I just got rid of my McLaren 570S, and behind me is left my Vanquish Carbon White Edition and my fully modified Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now, you guys are going to be excited. I'm going to be introducing a new car soon. But in the meantime, for Memorial Day, I want you to have an opportunity to do what I do, to no longer conventionally buy or lease cars ever again, because it's bullshit and you're losing money. I want you to be able to hack your way into exotic cars like these. I want you to hack your way into a $600 a month cost of ownership for a Lamborghini Huracan, the new one, that's right. I want you to get Aston Martins like this completely free. And I want you to drive Rolls Royce Ghost and actually make money doing it instead of spending money. There is a way. It's called hacking, and I want to teach you how to do that. No one else is talking about it because dealers are losing thousands of dollars because of it. So I want you to learn how to hack your way into your next exotic car. Join us by clicking the link in the bio and learning more.